I know we have a number of new people that have joined us today. So just to give a little bit of an introduction to what we're doing here, what the goal is. So my name is Rabbi Rami Goldberg, and I am the Director of Strategic Relations at Israel365, where I also host the Biblical Money podcast, where I interview leading CEOs and executives, speaking to them about faith and finance and business and the Bible, and really glean from their wisdom for success in the business world. So you can find my podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and the like. And for those of you that are new, who have never heard of Israel365, we are an Orthodox Jewish organization that supports the land of Israel by connecting Jews and Christians to each other and to the land. And what we practice is what we call Bible-based advocacy, where we connect people of faith to the land through a biblical lens. We've been around for 13 years, and we focus primarily on education, advocacy, and charity work. With regard to our education, we educate from a Jewish perspective. We have publishing. We publish 6 to 8 books a year. We have 2 daily newsletters, one with news, one with daily inspiration. We have programming. We have trips to Judea and Samaria. We have young leadership trips. We have trips to Israel for those of you that are coming from outside. Those that are here in the land of Israel who want to join us. We have trips hopefully over the festival of Sukkot, of Tabernacle, and anyone who would like to join that, there will be information in our emails going forward. And with regard to charity, we support all sorts of different things, whether it's soldiers, as we will do today, and we call on everybody to help support what we are doing, to widows and orphans, widows whose husbands might have been killed within this current conflict, and unfortunately many orphans. We help feed the needy, Holocaust survivors, and the like. And sometimes the question comes, why do we do this? So our mission in this world as Jews is to be a light unto the nation and representative of God in this world, as it says in Isaiah, that out of Zion will come forth Torah, and the Jewish people have an obligation to teach Torah to the world and spread godliness throughout the world. And that is really what our mission is, where our heart is, and we are always looking for opportunities to find people of faith that we can go ahead and connect. Today we're going to have a little bit of a special program. I just want to get is that Yakov Lisker joining us? Oh my gosh. Okay. Just today, we have the pleasure of having Yakov Gutman, who is a lead sniper. Yakov, I invited you to join us on stage. So please do that. Okay. Who is a lead sniper in the IDF and has spent over 500 days protecting the land of Israel. Yakov and I go way back. I was actually his counselor 25 years ago, and even at that point, I think he graduated 8th grade at the time, was still bigger than I am now by a lot. However, he is really, really one of my role models, has dedicated his life to the land of Israel, to the people of Israel, and has been an elite soldier, a firefighter, and constantly putting himself in harm's way for the protection of others. But before we ask Yakov to speak, a couple of quick housekeeping notes. In addition to hearing Yakov's story and praying for him, we're going to be raising money for Yakov's unit, and you'll hear about the important work that they are doing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a link to the bottom corner. So we're going to anyone who is able to help support what he's doing, it's really critical, and you'll hear about how important the additional equipment is to their success and to their protection. And so that link is now at the bottom, and I please ask everybody to give generously to that cause. Additionally, I have a lot of questions, but I know many of you do as well. So please put questions in the chat, and I will do my best to get to them. And then towards the end, we'll pray for Yakov and for his entire unit and the IDF on the whole. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Yakov, for taking time. And I know your time is certainly very precious and really something that comes in between in between tours, in and out of all the different battlegrounds and arenas that we've had. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I mean, hopefully we're rooting out evil and we won't have to do this again. But that we are doing here. So, Yakov, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure, Rami. I mean, number one, I really want to take a moment to really thank Rami and Israel365 for giving me a platform to speak. It really is a pleasure and it's an honor to be able to reach out to so many people. I mean, just looking at the comments, seeing, from, like you said, South Carolina, Malsbury, here, there, everywhere. It's really great to see so many people, sending out love and appreciation, especially for Israel365 as well for me. So I'm just going to go just a little bit into my background, where I came from and where I was brought up, and, we'll take it from there if that's cool.
Yeah, sounds great.
Awesome.
Tell us about your family and where you're from.
Sure. So I was brought up in Bergenfield, New Jersey. That's around where Teaneck, very large Jewish population there. I grew up in a modern Orthodox house, celebrating the Sabbath, all the holidays, all the Jewish high holidays and everything. So I'll take you from, a little bit of my past, where unfortunately when I was 10 years old, my father passed away, which really started an interesting trajectory in my life. My father was a leader in the community. He started various chesed projects, kindness and how do you translate chesed, Rami? Remind me.
Kindness.
Kindness, really just, generating good, heartfelt love and everything else. He's a very big believer in that, helping people create, celebrations for them within the shul, within the synagogue. And it was really a ginormous loss, unfortunately, to the community when he passed. He had a heart attack when I was 10 years old. It was very sudden, very quick. And it sent an interesting trajectory through my life. It was from there that I started loving/hating religion and started questioning a lot of things and going around those marks. Later on in high school, I was in a modern Orthodox high school in MTA, where I graduated. And through that time, through my childhood, I was constantly in and out of different parts of religiosity, whether liking it, not liking it. But there was one consistent that always stayed with me. It was Israel. My grandfather was part of the Haganah, the old days, pre-1948, here in Israel. And he eventually had to move to the States after, and that's a whole different story. We'll go into it at a different time. But he left a really interesting idea of Zionism in me and in my brothers and all of his grandchildren. And I really took that to heart. So when I was younger, I really wanted to go into the Navy SEALs, into America. I was very gung-ho. I really wanted to be in the military. I found a huge passion for it. It was a way I could give back using all of my strengths and even my weaknesses. And I had 3 friends that I grew up with, and we all were training to do this. We all were going in. Both of them were non-Jewish. I was the only Jewish one. We got to be seniors in high school. We were really trying to go for it. We really decided, okay, we're going to do it. I said, guys, I got to go to the IDF. It's my calling there. It's my people. It's my nation. I got to go do it. I'm going to go that way. My other 2 friends happened to go to the Army, to the Navy. One was a SEAL for 16 years in the American Navy SEALs. My other friend was a Green Beret for 5 years and then went to private contracting. So just to jump a little bit forward, I came to Israel. I did a year here in Torah study, which a lot of modern Orthodox Jews do. And then afterwards, I inducted into the Israeli army. I started in a basic combat unit, moved up through the ranks, moved into a special forces unit, and became a sniper there. We were mostly based in Judea, Samaria, as well as in the Gaza border. This was in the 2004 to 2006 timeline. I finished my service with Lebanon, the Lebanon War, and moved on to working in security and different angles of public security as well as private security. And most recently was a firefighter here in Tel Aviv, My last position there was deputy commander of a special motorcycle unit, a special rescue unit that we created here. And I'm sure there will be a lot of questions that will come with it, and I'm happy to answer and go into depth about that as well. And then about 3 years ago, I'm sorry, I was there for 10 years. And 3 years ago, I left the fire department. 4 years ago. Wow, it's already 4 years. Sorry, time flies with this war.
Time flies when you have bullets flying past your head. Right?
Bullets flying. Yeah, I mean, kind of go hand in hand, right? Fly this way, fly that way. So it's been about almost 4 years since I've left. I moved into the high-tech world. I work in sales when I'm not in Miluim, when I'm not reserve duty. But unfortunately, October 7th came. And as all of us combat soldiers, it found us in a very hard scenario. Most people with families, most people celebrating the high holiday. Me, myself, my personal story, here in Israel, when you work for the government, you're excused from military reserve duty. At the time, I just left the fire department. They didn't transfer my papers and everything else. So I was on official leave from this war. I got very upset. My unit got called up. All of my friends were called in. And I got very upset. And I said, okay, we're going to switch that quickly. So from October 7th till November 3rd, I went down to a base in the south. And I was training reservists as well as kids, but young soldiers who are in mandatory service. I was teaching them counterterrorism and sniping training for about a month straight. During that time, from October 7th till November 3rd, when I got inducted, we trained over 10,000. I think it was 10,600 soldiers during that month. We were there for literally 18 hours a day training. We would sleep for about 2 or 3, and then I would keep training and doing a new cycle of new guys and constantly going and going and going. November 3rd hit. I came to my unit. My unit is called the 551. We're a reservist special forces unit. We aren't based in one area. We're all over the country, wherever the need is, whether it's Lebanon, Syria, Gaza, Judea, Samaria, and the list goes on. We went into Gaza November 3rd. I went in for 2 months straight. I didn't know exactly how long I was going in. We literally went in for 2 months straight. Wasn't able to go out, barely was able to call my wife. I'm, by the way, married, 2 kids, God bless. And it was a very troubling and hard time. I felt like I was right back to my days 20 years ago when I was 18 running around, when I was 18, 20 running around and thinking that being in the army was the coolest thing in the world. It was right back to those running with your team, doing the mission and so on. Fast forward a little bit. I've done 7 rounds. I think it's 6 or 7 rounds of reserve duty in the past 700 days, or I think now it's 702. I did an official count. It just came to 504 days right now that I've served. And yeah, now I'm here talking to you guys.
Let me ask you just what, if there's such a thing as a typical day, what is a typical day? And one thing I was always wondering is, you're in there for 3 months at a time. You got to sleep at some point. Meaning people will, I know if I don't get like 2 nights, I don't get a good night's sleep, my wife is like all over me, and I then get sick. It's like what's like a typical day looking like in as you have these missions, or over the course of time? Are you able to sleep? Do you take your boots off? Do you change your socks? Like, what's that like?
So number one, as a combat soldier, you're trained, to go through certain hardships and certain, tough times and things like that. But there were times, when we first went in November 2023 till about January 2023, there was weeks that we didn't take our boots off, didn't take our vests off. You're going from house to house, clearing, looking, trying to find hostages, trying to, collapse the enemy, trying to take out the enemy. You're doing your best to take control of what this crazy situation was. So, a normal day is, we're going to start from the night. We'll do the Jewish thing, right? We'll start from the night before and we'll move into the day. So during the night, at around anywhere between 12 and 3 a.m., you're getting up, getting your gear, set and ready. So you're getting last minute things, checking your magazines, weapons, so on and so forth, night vision, everything else. And you're usually already prepped, but you're just doing the finishing touches for whatever the mission is. The mission could be taking over a building, setting up, out, all these different missions. Usually at around 3, 4 a.m., you'll go out, you'll walk, or you'll hike to wherever you got to do. Usually the first crack of dawn, or sometimes even when you still have a little bit of night, you'll go do the mission, you'll take over everything else, and then you'll sit there for the day, sometimes 2 days, sometimes 3 days, and continue on forward. So you're carrying, our packs would be 50, 60 kilos. So that's approximately between 110 to 140 pounds on your back of food, water, and obviously military supplies that you have with you, night vision, rifles, ammunition, special equipment. I was a breacher for a little bit, so carrying demolition and breaching tools with me and stuff like that. And so then you however long that takes, whether it's a day or whether it's a couple of days, you come back to usually something called a FOB, a forward operating base, within Gaza or within whatever your operating area is. And then you'll restock, hopefully try to get 2-3 hours of sleep, maybe a little bit more, and then you'll proceed further in. And that was really in the beginning of the war, how things went. Now, things have calmed down, and we're getting, the army's getting much more organized and much more set, and they're realizing that people are burning out and it's too much and too intense. They're starting to, pull back time and pull back forces so that you'll go out for, an hour or two, or you'll go out for a 12-hour mission or an 18-hour mission at best, and then come back.
And then you have, so you're carrying all this gear. What does the Army give you? What are some of the things? I know you've raised a lot of money for people in your unit. What are some of the things you have raised money for, and that the Army is not giving and has served like a real life-saving that you've seen?
Sure. So over over our course of time, when I showed up in the Army, the biggest thing that we got was, here's a vest, here's a weapon, go do your business, go do the job, just go. And it was crazy in the beginning. The things that we realized is that people
was not prepared for this. And so until things settled down, everything was kind of just, like whatever you have, just go.
You just dealt with whatever you had in your hands, that's what you dealt with, and you just made the best of it. So taking zip ties and tying things to your pack, just trying the best to make the best of whatever the situation was. I realized there was a ginormous problem with it. People were missing vital equipment. I got plates, the plates that I wore, we have plate carriers that we have our magazines held on. You'll see soldiers that are wearing them. They're called plate carriers. And inside them, you have bulletproof plates. Those plates have expiration dates. And if they're not stored correctly, they're even more detrimental because they become Swiss cheese, because the Kevlar within the plate is webbed. And all of a sudden, what that does is instead of it holding, it starts fraying away within time. And if it's not stored correctly, so you're actually wearing Swiss cheese instead of wearing a bulletproof vest. And we've realized this over time. And I was just fed up, and I got really mad with the Army that they weren't supplying the correct equipment. So I started raising money for vests and helmets and night vision and drones and real equipment and real needs of what the soldier needs on the ground, not what the officers need and not the special, shirts and pants and tactical wear and stuff like that. I dealt with what is really needed and what comes from the battlefield. So I raised enough money to buy over 500 vests, over almost 1,000 helmets. We've had night vision, which has been a ginormous help. I can tell you personally. I'll give you a short story. I was in Gaza, and we were driving down to a certain area. We parked, we got out, we were walking, and what we were doing is we were doing a mobility transport. So we brought in food, and we're taking out a unit with us. So when you get there, you have to do, you get to a certain spot, and then you pull security, you're making sure that the area around you is secure. We got knowledge over the radio that there's a team of terrorists that want to hit us. They're coming from the south. Be prepared, and so on. I took an overwatch position as a sharpshooter at the time. I wasn't with my sniper rifle. I went up, took an overwatch position, and what was great at the times, I had the military's night vision. It's called the ADI. It's pretty much it's a binocular that comes into a monocle. So it's two eyes that go into one eye, and it works okay. So at least I had that. Plus I had I had a scope, and I was all set and ready to go. Guys came out. We started having a firefight. I took out 2 terrorists that were running at us. And right after I took out the second terror, there was 4 terrorists in total. After I took out the second one, my night vision went blank. It completely just stopped working. Quickly just took it off. And then I just had to continue engaging. The rest of my team, thank God, made up for my loss. And we took out the other two terrorists. But I realized at that point that the reason that my night vision wasn't working was because whoever had it before me, or whatever it was before, didn't take care of it properly, and it was stowed in some place, and it was really just fault. There was faulty wiring inside that got knocked around, and I got very fed up, and I said, "Look, I need a new one." They said it's going to take 2 weeks. I said, "I'm going out tonight. How am I going to be able to see? Like I'm going out tonight. I'm in a Hummer. It's an open Hummer, meaning that it's not it's not an up armored. It's completely open Hummer, no doors. I got to see what's going on." And I'm not the only soldier that's like this. There are, unfortunately, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of soldiers that have the same problem that I've heard all over. And they said, "Okay, we'll try to rush you something, whatever it is." They ended up giving me, they tried to rush me. They gave me something from somebody else who went home for the day, and then I took his. And that night we got into another firefight. And as we were retreating back, pulling through a house, my night vision went blank again. And it was literally the same exact problem, was just people not taking care of it correctly and everything else. So I got very fed up, talked to some very close people of mine, and I said, "Please, I need money for a night vision." The night vision cost 30,000 shekel. Within 2 days, raised the money for it, bought myself night vision. And it has been beyond lifesaver, because now I can go anywhere, into tunnels, into which I've been in, into houses, which I've been in, to any scenario. And I can see at night clearly. I have the advantage now on the enemy. And it really was a massive game changer.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy that, as far as like the work that we put into it, what has been, I mean, where have you seen like the hand of God, throughout this war? And I'm sure there's been, many opportunities, but I mean, as people of faith, this is something that, we think of, and we obviously are praying on one side, and we like to feel that what we're doing is helping, and I'm sure you've seen it firsthand. So what are some of those things that that like these prayers have really helped?
Well, I'll tell you on a couple of levels, if it's okay. One level is we were in Gaza for a couple of weeks, and somebody, and this is small, but it made the biggest difference to us. Somebody brought a box of donations from America. They had Johnson & Johnson baby powder. They had Head and Shoulders, shampoo. Yeah, they had all these. They had electrical tape, huge. Actually, here. This is something that I've had 3 rolls of this. Still lasts me. Always using it. I just put it here with my equipment because I'm going back to the Army on Tuesday, so I have it right here. But we got these things, but the biggest part of it was the cards that came through of kids. And the reason you could tell it was really kids and not parents saying, I'm a 5-year-old writing, was really kids, because you could tell, the writing was reversed and it was different. And a lot of my guys couldn't read because, they could read normal English, but when it's messed up with kids, it's very hard to read. So I sat there reading about 10 or 15 cards from kids going, I love soldiers. I hope Hashem's with you. Please stay safe. We're really praying for you. And it was just so nice to know that there's somebody out there that cares about you and wants to help you and just wants to be with you. So you really felt, I don't know if it's really saying the hand of God, but you felt the community, you felt the touch, the love, the care, the outreach in that sense. And that was one aspect that was really, in my eyes, just really heartwarming and amazing. Where it came to really seeing God in a sense, and the miraculous things that he did. So I'm going to tell a very this is a very interesting story. Some people might, take it a little bit too intense. So I'm giving a warning that this is an intense story. Nothing too crazy, but again, very intense. So just, give a little preparation for it. I was in Gaza. We had a known terrorist that was in the area. We went to go hunt him. Ended up finding him, captured, got him, and brought him back to the intelligence community, and they worked with him. Didn't think about it again. 3 weeks later, we get a phone call. My general gets a phone call and says, hey, remember the guy that you captured? They said, yeah. He knows where they stored 5 bodies of hostages in the walls.
Wow.
We got this information. And they said, whoever goes with him has to be, really, has to have his head on screwed on right, is the best way to say it. Has to be ready to take on this mission. Very intense. We have to go into tunnels. We have to do this as a huge logistical operation to get this person in to show us where he did and what he did and everything else. The logistical operations are going on, and my general's talking, and he's going back and forth, and he's talking to this guy, and this skinny little rabbi, tiny little dude, really very, very sweet, walks over and just says, well, what do we do when the bodies come? And everybody in the room kind of froze. And we said, you're right. We need the rabbi to come so he can do a tahara, so he can make sure, not tahara, but so that he can take all the proper burial needs that need to be done for these Jews that were taken hostage and unfortunately passed and so on. And I thought it was so cool that you saw everybody, Chiloni, Dati, like non-religious, religious, from this background, Moroccan background, Ashkenazi background, Sephardi background, everybody just stopped and said, wow, you're absolutely right. We got to focus on that. And you saw everybody kind of freeze, go into a mode and completely attack that and made it happen. And when we eventually went into the tunnels, dug the bodies out, I happened to personally, I look at it as one of the, I would say, hardest and most rewarding missions I've ever been a part of in my entire life, where I had the honor to dig the bodies out of the wall myself, literally working with a Congo, a jackhammer to break down the wall, to bring the body out, put him in a bag, with the rabbi helping the entire thing. And the crazy part was, as we were carrying the bodies out, there were an entire there was a entire team lined up on the sides as we're walking out, saying psalms, saying Tehillim as we walked out for the deceased. And it was the biggest Kiddush Hashem, honor of God. There you go. Exactly. It was one of the greatest things I've ever been a part of. And it was I was so proud to be a Jew, and I was so proud to be part of this religious Jewish entity, if you want to call it, Israel, of all of our brothers and sisters, women and men together, fighting to respect these people and to do what's right by them. And it was really, really just an amazing opportunity. So I to answer your question, I don't know if this does or not, but you're asking, did I see God? Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. You see God in the reflection of the Jewish people, and the care and concern that is kind of represented by the entire army. It's an amazing story. I know we've had some people join, so just wanted to go back to kind of two of the housekeeping points that I made at the beginning. We're obviously raising money for Yakov and his unit, as he talked about some of the life-saving equipment that he has purchased. So please, there's a link in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm also putting it here in the chat for anyone who wants it. The other thing is, if there are questions that you have for Yakov, please. I'll still continue with my questions, but if anyone has any questions, they can certainly write them, and we will try to get to them. I think one of the challenges. I mean, I can't stay focused for about 3 minutes. How do you focus on what is going on? Is it just the adrenaline pumping, and then is it like adrenaline overload, like on a day by day basis, or often is it much slower than we kind of imagine? Sometimes the Rambo movies.
So the movies aren't real. They're not. That's not what happens. They're not there. So just to give you a small background about myself, I mean, Rami knows this, but for everybody out there, I am a diagnosed ADHD, ADD. I have all of the levels of dyslexia. I read upside down. I read the reverse way, the whole 9 yards. Just like Rami, who showed me when he was my counselor back in the day. And I said, oh my God, there's other people like me. Rami, I remember that one when you were sitting reading your book upside down. My concentration level, if you put me in high school, was a joke. It was about 15 seconds, and then I was out. And so people used to always say, Gutman, there's no way you're going to be a sniper. You got to sit for hours on end and days on end and this and that and everything. So to answer your question, in a sense of how do you focus, how do you stay on that? The mission is bigger than me, and you don't have a choice, and it's mind over matter. And, we were trained for years how to do this, and we keep up our training, and we keep ourselves in the know. And we switch out. I try to go with it, usually with a partner, something that's called a spotter. We switch off. We try to, have other guys come in and, get on the scope and help. There was a time where I set up my sniper rifle in my hide. And what I did is on the back of the hide, I made a area to sleep in. And so what I would do is I would go onto the rifle for X amount of time. And then I'd have somebody come switch out for an hour, 2 hours, something like that. I'd roll over. I'd go to sleep for the hour or two, whatever it is. And then I'd get back onto the rifle. And if there was any emergency, something like that, they would wake me up. I'd get onto the rifle and, continue forward. But I've been blessed. I really consider this. I've really been blessed to be one of those people that I need about between 2 and 4 hours of sleep a day, and I'm good to go. No problem.
Yeah. Okay. That's, definitely. I mean, it is an amazing thing that ADD is really just a school thing. That's really what it comes down to. If we got rid of the
100%.
schools, we'd be doing a lot better. But how do you respond? Obviously, hopefully you don't read too much news because it's just not good for anybody, but not healthy, whether you're reading right news or left news. But there definitely is a lot of pushback that the way the IDF handles themselves is inhumane or aggressive or things like that. Obviously, there's always one dumb kid who does something dumb, and it's always recorded, and that makes the front page. But how do you respond to that? Where you obviously see things day to day, how people are acting and what they're doing on a day by day basis in terms of their level of morality and how they're acting.
So number one, I've operated with multiple units. In special forces, you jump all over the place. You operate with multiple people in different facets from all over, whether tanks, engineering, artillery, foot soldier, non-combatant, and I've never seen people go unleashed, crazy, running around, nutso things. So number one, I would say 90% of those claims are false. And that's just the start. There are people that, I can tell you, I was once part of a prisoner transport, which was an incredibly hard thing to do because you're face to face with your enemy. You see him right here. You're moving them from truck 1 to truck 2, you're on the truck with them, moving them to Israel to go get, information out of them and everything else. And it's very challenging. It really is. It's very challenging not to take force to these horrific people and people who have no concept of what real life is or care for life or anything else. All they want to do is murder Jews. That's all they want to do. And they've said it. We did field interrogations where we're beating them or anything else. We sat them at a table and said, okay, where are you from? Who are you? What did you do on October 7th? And they said, all I want to do is kill Jews. All I want to do is go at them. All I want to do is, and it's something as a defender of my nation, you just want to kill them. And you just want to eradicate them. Like, why should I even care what you know in your head? Just get off the face of the planet. And, I really have to say thank God to the Israeli army for teaching us how to have self-control and how to, control our emotion and be calm in the storm and to realize that doing the right thing and holding yourself to a moral and ethical standard is more important for yourself, not just personally, but your mental acuity to be able to deal with what you deal with later is huge. I could tell you that I've been on multiple sniper missions. I've taken out many terrorists. I've gone through all those things that you have to do. And the way that I can sleep good at night and the reason that I don't have crazy traumas is that because every time I did what I had to do, I was under moral and ethical standards that I held myself to, not just what the army was, but above that. And that's how I deal with it. People in America and all over the world with this Israel hate, or anything else, I say to them, come to Israel. I'll take you to Gaza. I'll take you, I'll put you on a Hummer. I'll send you in. And if you want to go help people there, by all means, go ahead. Go help them. Ship them out to France. Ship them out to Scotland. Whoever's open door, you're more than welcome to. I will drive you in personally and let you deal with them, because then they will see the real truth and the real hatred that they have for life. And so wow. I just try to stay away mostly from the social media aspect and things like that, because there's no truth to it.
It's just so negative. Wonderful. I think we have time. Maybe one more question, and then we'll pray a little bit. But what's kind of like, I guess, one thing that you wish that more people, particularly Americans, and I mean, I know we have a lot of people from all over the world, so I shouldn't say particularly Americans, but that you think that most civilians like miss about kind of the day-to-day of what's going on in the Army. Is there something that that you think that we just don't get? Meaning I'm here in my, in the luxury of my home, being able to to talk about things on the front line, but things that you want, the home front to know that's going on.
So it's a really good point. And for all you people outside of Israel right now, or even those people inside of Israel who aren't 100% knowledge or doesn't have somebody who's inside or giving knowledge of what's going on. Right now, times are tough. Times are very hard in the Army. Guys are doing, hundreds of days of miluim, of reserve duty. And it takes a beating physically, mentally, emotionally. It's taken, a beating on my kids, on my wife, my marriage, the things that are very, very hard. And the day-to-day, of dealing with that, I have friends who have lost their jobs because they said, hey, I'm going to continue serving for 400 days, for 300 days. And jobs said to them, hey, look, we can't keep the business going. We need you here. And they said, look, my unit's going in. My brothers are walking into Gaza. I cannot be, they're walking to Lebanon. I cannot be with them. I have to be with them. I got to go. And these are our day-to-days. I had a friend of mine, he's a general now, and he called me up, and it was literally right after, it was in March of 2024, I think, or something around that time. It was like right before Pesach, I think. And he called me up, and I literally just finished a round in. I was in for about 3 months straight. And he called me up, and he's like, Gutman, I need you to get your rifle. We're going into a certain place I can't mention. We're going to go do X, Y, and Z. I need a guy like you. I need you to come with me. I need you to be in my unit, in my very close unit, and be with us to do this stuff. You have amazing knowledge of, and so on and so forth. And I said to him, I was like, look, man, I'm burnt out. Like I literally just came off of 3 months of Gaza. Like I need a break. And he's like, I wouldn't ask this if it wasn't dire. And I just said, okay. I didn't talk to my wife. I didn't talk to my job. I didn't talk to anything. And I said, sure. And I literally was on my motorcycle on my way home. I stopped at home, gave my kids a kiss, gave my wife a kiss, threw my laundry in, slept for about 2-3 hours, something like that, grabbed some food. And I said, sweetie, I love you, but I got to go back to the Army. And my wife, being the most amazing person that she is, turned around and said, look, you got to come home next week because the kids miss you. You got to be home for at least 3 or 4 days, but go do what you got to do. I understand. I love you. Be safe and go. And that's our day-to-days here. I just got called up. Having deals in your pipeline as a sales is something very hard to deal with. When the job that you're supposed to do as a normal person, you can't do because you're off, in war. friends moving, everywhere else, that they're moving in their fields. They're becoming managers and VPs and CEOs and everything else. And 2 years.
Wow.
So those are
Yeah. Yakov,
the
I think
day-to-day things, if that answers the question.
something with your audio, but I mean, it's really unbelievable. I think we really we don't appreciate the totality of the picture, because we see the soldier, but you forget the soldier is a father, is a husband, is somebody with a family and kids, and you have to be taking care of that. And I think that is also part of really one of the challenges that is going on. So let's take a minute. I want to just play a video, which is something which I'm going to share the tefillah, share the prayer for the IDF, and we'll play a video.
אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, העומדים על משמר ארצנו וערי אלוהינו, מגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים, מן הים הגדול עד לבוא הערבה, ביבשה
ייתן אדוני את אויבינו הקמים עלינו, ניגפים לפניהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה, מכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ידבר שונאינו תחתיהם, ויעטרם בכתר ישועה ובעטרת ניצחון. וקוים בהם הכתוב, כי אדוני אלוהיכם ההולך עמכם, להילחם לכם עם אויביכם, להושיע אתכם, ונאמר אמן.
אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, צבא ההגנה לישראל.
Wow, it moves me to tears every time. And I want to say one additional prayer, and with this we will begin to wrap up. Just before we do that, as I mentioned, there is a link. Please, I'm asking everybody. Yakov is a dear friend. He is somebody who, obviously, as you've heard these unbelievable stories, has been protecting me and my family and the Jewish people in the most serious way. 500 days. Understand what that is. A full year and a half. And out of 700, there has not been that many days. And I'm really asking, and everybody, whatever you're able to contribute. And if it's $10, that's great. And if it's $1,000, even better. So really, we're looking. I see quite a few people have donated already. And I'm asking if everybody can click on the link and do that. And I will read this final prayer as we wrap up. God bless our soldiers with the fortitude and the strength, both physical and mental, to defeat our enemies. May they go out whole with the Spirit of God and return whole, knowing they are living up to the greatest mission that could be. They have the mission of defending God's land and his people, standing up to evil in the world. May they sanctify your name in life and health. May God protect and ensure that there are no more injuries and that this war should end swiftly in total victory as God has performed for our ancestors in Egypt and this nation in 1967. And may we see a swift end to this war, a total victory over our enemies, and it's going to be as the messenger of God, as Yakov spoke about being part of the Jewish people, part of the Jewish army. There's a feeling of godliness within that army. There's a total feeling of God enveloping them, and they are, I'm going to say an embodiment, but I don't mean that in the physical sense, but a representation of God within this world. And it's really something where he's really a hero of mine. He's really somebody who puts himself to the side. And maybe even a greater hero is his wife, who has put up with 2 kids for 700 days, where, okay, Yaakov's been home here and there, but 500 days away and a few days in between. To the women that are out there, to the mothers who are protecting their and taking care of their children, and to the men who are out on the front lines. I'm a loser over here. I'm a guy who, I made Aliyah. The army didn't want me. I didn't really push in the way that I should have. And it's people like this that are really doing the heavy lifting. And so everything that we can do on our end to go ahead and support him, to support his comrades, to support the others in the army is really what we are looking for. And the offering that we are putting out there and asking everybody to dig a little bit deeper. Yakov has dug not just a little deeper, but much, much, much deeper. And he's a big guy, lots of layers, and he's dug all the way deep to be able to be out there and protecting the Jewish people, to be able to protecting Western civilization as he's been doing this entire time. So thank you everybody for joining. I hope you will join us next time. Please sign up for our newsletters, and please donate generously to this very important campaign. And so they can have necessary equipment, and we'll find other good things to put money to within Yaakov's unit. So thank you everyone. Wishing you a God bless from Israel, and please be in touch if there's anything that I can do. If you'd like to get in touch with Yakov, I am happy to put you in touch. My email is Rami, R-A-M-I, at Israel365.com. Again, that's R-A-M-I at Israel365.com. Thank you very much. God bless, and we will see you in the next prayer call.